Attention, the following broadcast has been approved by Outcasted OC. Viewer discretion is advised. Incoming transmission in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What is up, everybody? It's Courtney here from the Outcasted OC podcast, and welcome to the WWE Money in the Bank review. I thought we'd throw this in the mix because Money in the Bank just finished. I have a lot of thoughts. I'm also very upset. If I look puffy, it is because I have been crying. We will get into it. My notes are on my laptop, so let's jump straight into what happened. So the beginning of the show, we start with the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. Now, I'm not really going to give too much details as into like specific moves that we got to see. I'm just going to talk about a lot of the contenders that we have. So we obviously had Andrade, we had Carmelo, we had LA Knight, we had Jey Uso, we had Chad, and we had Drew McIntyre. I think it was a nice change of pace to have the men start the show because normally the women over the last couple of years have started off Money in the Bank with their ladder match. So I think it was quite nice to shake things up a little bit. And obviously something that happened in the men's Money in the Bank ladder match did play a part into a later part in the show. So I personally really think Andrade got a really great showing during this match. Him and Carmelo had a lot of moves together. They had a lot of time in the ring together, so I think we could potentially see a feud come out between the two of them. Andrade had a really crazy moonsault onto Carmelo onto some of the ladders as well. Carmelo did really well. He took some really gnarly bumps during the match. We had a moment in the match where I think LA Knight and Jey Uso were both like working together in the ring, and we got the yeet and the year off as we had on Friday Night SmackDown the night before Money in the Bank. Chad got a lot of heat during this match as well too. He got the "you suck" chance, but he did some really awesome suplexes throughout the course of this match as well. I think he had a suplex with a ladder as well too, which was really cool to see. We got to see Drew and Jay reignite their feud in the ring, and much to my surprise, Drew McIntyre won the Money in the Bank ladder match, which Drew was like the lower on my card in terms of like who I wanted to win. Personally, I really think it's meant to be for somebody who actually is like up and coming and needs that Money in the Bank opportunity, not for somebody like a Drew McIntyre. But hey, look, that's my first prediction wrong of the show. It's not the only one I got wrong, but that's not the point. I wasn't really thrilled seeing Jey Uso lose another opportunity like this again and seeing them not capitalize off of LA Knight. It just really got me bothered. I'm surprised that we didn't have much interference in this match from people that have like a public enemy that's in the ladder match. I'm surprised we didn't see Logan Paul. I'm surprised we didn't see any of the Bloodline come and try and take Jay out. I'm surprised we didn't see anybody from Legado del Fantasma, and we obviously did not see anybody from the Wyatt Six. So it was a very tame Money in the Bank ladder match in terms of no enemies coming out, but it was still a really good performance, a really good show, and it set the card off really right. We got a lot of "this is awesome" chants, which obviously if we're starting off the show with some of those, we're doing really well. Following this, we had Sami Zayn and Bron Breakker going up for the Intercontinental Championship. I think Bron debuted with a new theme song, which I was really bummed out because I like the Wolf Dogs at the beginning of his theme song, so I was a little bit bothered that we couldn't really hear it, but that's okay. Sami had the hometown crowd response, and Bron was in control for a large portion of this match. His strength was on display, and it was a really great debut match for him on the main roster in terms of a big PLE. Sami's selling was incredible until he decided to Hulk up. I'm getting really sick of the whole Sami takes a whole lot of damage and then out of nowhere he like respawns. It's getting a bit frustrating at this point. Then we ended up seeing Bron hit a really awesome Frankensteiner onto Sami, and then Sami hit a blue Thunderbomb as well too. Sami managed to find the strength to win the match. This was the second match of the night that I got wrong. Would I have minded if Sami had have lost? No. I was really pulling for Bron Breakker because I really want to see what they can do with him on the main roster. But that's not the point. It was still a really great match. I'm happy that the IC title was on display during a PLE, and I can't wait to see what they do with the Intercontinental Championship from here. Next up, we had the host of Money in the Bank. Now, this is Trish Stratus. She came out and announced out John Cena. John Cena's wearing a different t-shirt that he normally does. It said something about a farewell tour, and boy oh boy did I start bawling my bloody eyes out. He literally came into the ring and started talking to everybody and basically said that next year's WrestleMania is going to be his last WrestleMania that he will be competing in, and that he's going to be on a farewell tour next year. So basically my childhood is just completely crushed and broken. John Cena is I don't want to cry because I already cried so much today. John Cena is one of my favorite wrestlers. I grew up watching him. He was one of my first childhood crushes. He was one of the first wrestlers that I really was drawn to as a wrestling fan, and obviously supported him through thick and thin, through all the shit that he went through. I'm getting emotional as I'm talking about this, but it's really, really hard. Like, I literally feel like someone has pulled my heart out of my chest, thrown it on the floor, and just completely stomped on it. I feel like my heart has been ripped in two. It feels broken. It feels like a part of my childhood is dying. I'm being really dramatic, but like at the same time, I'm kind of not. It was really hard news to hear, and I just kind of wish I remember what life was like without actually knowing that John Cena is retiring, because we all kind of speculated it, but it's a completely different story when the person actually says it themselves that they are going to be retiring. So he leaves the ring, he goes and gives his wife a hug and a kiss, she's front row, and then he leaves, and I'm just like, wow. John Cena's really done, eh? Like, and at that point of the evening for me, I didn't think anything could pick up this card for me. I honestly think having that announcement in the middle of the show, for me, it really put a dampener on the rest of the match card, because Seth and Damien was up next. It was a match that I was really looking forward to, but with the dampener of the news of John Cena, it really kind of just bummed me out for the rest of the show. But I'm going to get into the World Heavyweight Championship title match. Now, before the match, Damien had spoken to the Judgment Day and had basically just told them not to interfere within the match. Seth had some really cool new moves on display, and it honestly looked like he hasn't skipped a beat since he's been gone since WrestleMania. Damien's power was on display, and both of them were scared throughout the entire match that Drew McIntyre was going to come and cash in. He had tweeted before that match that he was basically right, he was going to be cashing in, so they were a little bit scared that he was going to cash in throughout the entire thing. There was a moment where Seth threw Damien over the commentary table, and then there was a moment where it was a pin and Seth was getting the cover, and it looked like he was supposed to kick out at 3. I'm referring to Damien here, but I don't think that was communicated. I know that's a blip that the internet's going to hyper-focus on, but I'm just mentioning it because it's a massive part of the match. And then there was a moment where Drew McIntyre comes in and he goes to cash in, so it becomes a triple threat. And before we get too deep into it, CM Punk comes and attacks Drew from behind and takes him into the timekeeper's area and hits him with a chair. CM Punk sits on the commentary table, and then there's a moment where he goes and hits Drew McIntyre on the ring apron with the World Heavyweight Championship. And then we see Damien pin Drew McIntyre, so he is still our World Heavyweight Champion. I got one prediction right, thank God, so far. Honestly, Triple H and I are on the wrong page. We're not on the same page within this premium live event, and it's pissed me off a little bit, but it's okay because I can always bring my predictions back up. But yeah, so at the end of this, Seth Rollins walks around and he gets into a bit of a confrontation face-to-face with CM Punk, because since Damian Priest has retained his title, it means that Seth Rollins can no longer challenge for the World Heavyweight Championship, and obviously that is at the expense of CM Punk. Obviously, we know that they both have a rich history with each other. We did find out from Triple H during the documentary that was for WrestleMania Behind the Curtain that we were supposed to be getting CM Punk and Seth freaking Rollins at WrestleMania this year. Obviously, both of their injuries stalled the plans, so I'm really hoping that we can have this program come to fruition at some point in time. Obviously, I know we're a little bit too deep into the whole Drew McIntyre CM Punk thing, so maybe once one of them are champion, we can have that with CM Punk and Seth Rollins. But yeah, it was a really good match. Like I say, it didn't really hype me up because of the fact that I was so upset about Cena. I quite literally, when Cena had dropped that news, I cried like an infant. I felt my inner child just completely die. Like I say, I know it's really dramatic, but just when somebody's been a part of your life for a very long time and it's all you know, it's very hard to think about what it's going to be like without them there. So that's just why it's just still kind of like hitting deep in my chest. But that's okay, because they tried to pick me up with the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. That was next. It was a really great match. At the beginning, everyone kind of leaves the ring and Chelsea Green's in there by herself, and she's trying to like actually physically jump up to grab the briefcase, but I don't think she realizes that she's not able to. Michael Cole actually mentioned on commentary that she's afraid of heights. I wrote down her entire story arc during during this match is that she's building up the courage to get over her fear of heights, which she does. Then we see her and Tiffany form an alliance for a little bit during this match. They both set up a set of tables. Naomi has, honestly, I reckon she was the MVP of this match, because not only was she hitting some crazy moves during this match, but she was also taking some brutal bumps as well too. She took a spine first back breaker onto one of the ladders as well too. Now that would have been insanely painful to take. Io Sky proved why she's one of the best wrestlers in the world. Honestly, her performance this year, I think, was so much better than last year's performance with the Money in the Bank. I was really impressed to see what she did. I was a little bit disappointed that they didn't reference more of Zoe and Io Sky in terms of their NXT time, but that's totally fine. Zoe looked great in this match, and she took some really hard-hitting bumps. There was a moment where Michael Cole thought she'd split her head open by hitting her head on the ladder, but she pushed through and she showed us why she should be a champion at some point in time. Lyra had a move where she was hanging upside down off the ladder, and she ended up pulling Io down with her legs, using some incredible core strength to get her off the ladder. Tiffany Stratton hits a really awesome swanton off the ring post outside of the ring. Chelsea and Tiffany end up colliding at the end of the match, as they are the last two people on the ladder. Tiffany ends up getting rid of Chelsea. She falls back into the tables that are set up earlier, and Tiffany Stratton is our brand new Women's Money in the Bank holder. This was something I was hoping for. This was my second prediction I got right, and honestly, I am so happy for Tiffany Stratton. She did an incredible job during this match. I believe this was, actually no, this is not her first ladder match, but nonetheless, she did an amazing job. She deserves to win. I'm so happy for her. I think she's going to be a really great Money in the Bank holder, and personally, I would love to see a situation where Charlotte Flair is a champion and Tiffany Stratton cashes in on her, because that's a match that not only Tiffany wants, but Charlotte wants as well too. So honestly, I feel like the possibilities are endless with Tiffany. Guys, it's Tiffy time. You guys need to get on this right here, right now. We make our way to the main event, which is the Bloodline taking on Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, and Kevin Owens. Now, we end up finding out that Jacob Fatu has actually made his way into Canada, so it's going to be Solo, Jacob, and Tama in this match. Tonga Loa's not in this match. He's in a suit, but he is still ringside. During the beginning of this match, and for the first half of it, they're both the Bloodline's playing switcheroo, basically, in terms of they're doing quick tags between each other to confuse the babyface team of who's actually going to be in the match. Jacob ends up facing Randy during the match, and Randy is pleasantly surprised by the skills and the ability of Jacob. I don't think he was expecting Jacob to be as good in the ring as he is. Like I said earlier, Bloodline spends half of the match being in control, and there's a moment where Jacob and Kevin end up facing off. I'd love to see a full-blown feud between the two of them, but I think what we got to see is definitely a taste of what is to come. Cody comes in and changes the trajectory of the match, and then we see Kevin Owens hit a really nice frog splash. Randy hits a couple of RKOs during this match, and then we end up seeing the official taken out. Shocker. The babyface team go for a shield bomb onto the commentary table, but Jacob Fatu stops him and he hits the referee again. Kevin ends up hitting Jacob with the prime bottle, and there's a moment where he ends up hitting a frog splash as well too onto the commentary table. Tonga Loa hits a low blow onto Kevin, and then Randy hits an RKO again. Cody hits a couple of crossroads onto Solo before Jacob ends up wiping out Cody. We see an implant DDT from Jacob Fatu, and then he ends up lifting up Solo to his feet and gets Cody ready for a Samoan spike, which Cody ends up getting the Samoan spike from Solo Sikoa, and the Bloodline dominate during this match, and they end up standing tall at the end of the show. That is my third prediction right. I got 3 out of 5. Like I say, I normally get more than that, but Triple H just is not playing ball at the moment, and I really don't know why. I don't know what's going on in that big brain of his. He just honestly just needs to cool the fuck down. And that brings us to the end of the 2024 Money in the Bank review. If you guys enjoyed the video, please make sure you go ahead and show us some love and support by liking the video. While you're there, go ahead and comment something that you enjoyed about Money in the Bank this year, if you got your predictions right, or if you would have liked to see somebody else win, or even just what you thought amazing moment was within the show. We would love to know what you guys think. While you're there, you should go ahead and subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell icon. Those are the notifications. If you turn those on, you will not miss any of our posts. While you're there as well too, you should go to the description. You can find all of the links to where you can find Outcasted OC on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, as well as all of our personal social medias, so you can keep up to date with what we're doing when we're not posting on the channel. As always, you've got your Monday Night Raw review coming in from me this week, as well as the NXT review coming in from Reese. On Thursday, we're going to be talking about Money in the Bank, the whole crew will be back together and we'll be talking about all things 2024 Money in the Bank. So if you'd love to know all of our thoughts, make sure you go ahead and tune into the podcast when it happens. And if you turn on that bell icon, you will not miss the notification for when we go live. You'll also have your SmackDown review coming in later on this week. I'll catch you guys in the podcast. Bye guys.